talk to Jonathan Davis, economist and wealth advisor from Hertfordshire. Jonathan, good afternoon to you.
Hello, Roberto.
Does this mean the housing crisis is all made up, it doesn't exist?
Well, I think the housing crisis, the one that they talk about, is that house prices are huge, rents are huge, and it is there is a number of properties for the number of people. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people who've got 2, 3, 4, 5 properties, so that's largely the reason why there appears to be a deficit of properties, because of investing in the market, which then again drives prices up again. But let's get into perspective the numbers. The Halifax is saying 340,000 or so first-time buyers, biggest number since 2006. Actually, in the 90s and up to 2006, it was over 400,000 first-time buyers a year. Indeed, in 1988, it was over 500,000 first-time buyers that year. In other words, over the last couple of decades, actually, the number of first-time buyers has been falling. In recent years, it's been rising. It's true. I find it very interesting that after house prices had somewhat crashed into 2009, with the financial crash that you mentioned, there were less than 200,000 first-time buyers in 2009. It's quite ridiculous. When prices fall, they don't buy. And yet when prices soar, they buy. People need to get their heads straight regarding housing. They're doing it the wrong way around.
Okay, but it does happen occasionally, but it doesn't happen very often that house prices go south, does it?
It hasn't done in the last 40 years. There was a significant period between 1989 and 1995 when there was a huge crash. Before that, it was 74 to 76. And then again, as I say, 2007 to 2009. We do get crashes from time to time. Previously, they haven't been big number crashes, but they've been big against inflation. What's interesting is that we hardly have any inflation, which means the next time we get a crash, I can pretty well almost guarantee to you actual prices will fall 20 to 30%.
Yeah, but I know you say that, Jonathan. I know, but is that really? We've discussed before. Look, I think what you and I are both concerned at the level of debt people have taken on again. I mean, it's just personal debt. It's just people have learnt nothing. So people are borrowing money left, right, and centre. End up with a new car on the driveway. Look at me, and then 3 months later, the bailiffs come and take it away. But when another crash does happen, whatever the consequence, house prices still won't go down that much, will they?
Yeah, no, that's not true. I believe that they will. They went down 20% in the 2008 crash. What got us out of that, in fact, the government and the Bank of England at that time bailed everyone out. Rightly or wrongly, I say wrongly, however, they bailed everyone out by slashing the base rate from 5% to 0.5% over just a few months. And it stayed there for the next 7 years until a few months ago, Carnage, as I call him, Mark Carney, the governor of the Bank of England, he cut the interest rate again for, as far as I can see, no apparent reason. In other words, we've had basically no borrowing costs for the last 8 years. Do you know what? The bank rate is so low now, they cannot slash the base rate the next time there is a recession.
But surely they've got something else in the armoury. Surely there's something else in the armoury. Maybe they can pay us to borrow money.
Yeah, they will borrow massively. They will print huge amounts of money, even more than they did in 2009, and they will bail out the banks again. An outrage, but that's what they'll do. Do you know what they'll also do, which no one in the BBC seems to be talking about, which is remarkable?
Well, tell me.
Basically, in legislation, they will also do bail-ins. In other words, like Cyprus 2013, large value depositors will see big chunks of their bank deposits taken away.
Hold on a minute, big boy. System. You can't have that in Britain, can you?
You're joking. The G20 in 2014 basically set up the rules, And last year, the European Central Bank, the Bank of England, the Bank of Canada, the Federal Reserve in America, they all drafted and finalised the rules for bail-ins. The BBC needs to get onto this. It's coming, and that obviously is going to be harmful to the economy as well.
So you're saying,
in order to help
hang on,
the
Johnny, you're saying there could be a bail-in so people with large deposits, the government will just take their money from them?
In 2008, the banks said, you have to bail us out, otherwise the depositors will lose money. At that time, they didn't have any rules on bail-ins.
And do you know, Jonathan, do you know what the great British people will do if the government has a bail-in? Do you know what they'll do? Absolutely nothing.
They'll do nothing. They'll complain about it. They'll say, oh, isn't the government terrible? But the reality is the rules are there. They were finalised last year. They were in the G20 in Brisbane, it might be in Melbourne, in 2014. There's no question it's coming in the next banking crisis, which will be the next recession. When that will be, maybe this year, maybe next year.
We've been talking about the weather, which hasn't happened. Should I be more worried about the financial crisis that's looming or the weather?
We should absolutely be more concerned about finances. There's no question. The weather always comes. Financial crises are created by people who are short-termist and don't care about the long term, and certainly don't care about the real people, only the elite.
Jonathan, thank you. Have a nice weekend. Jonathan Davies, economist and wealth advisor from Hertfordshire.